Rise out of the shadows.
Hello, everybody. This is Jim Cummings, but you may know me better as Darkwing Duck, the terror that flaps in the night. And you are about to groove very heavily to the Nerd Effect Podcast, if you know what's good for you. Darkwing out.
Welcome out to the Nerd Effect Podcast. We are on episode number 61. I am one of your hosts, Dustin Vancour, and I'm joined by my buddies,
Mac Emogan,
Mason Ireland,
Casey Thompson,
and Sally Matlock.
Yay! And Nikki's not here
Yeah,
yet.
Nikki's not here, so And what is this? There's two new people? What's going on?
What is this madness? Introduce yourselves again.
Hi, I'm Casey Thompson, creator and host of the Dice Willing podcast. And we also have
Sally Matlock. I am one of the voice actors for Dice Willing's podcasts.
Yay!
Yay!
Well, welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah.
We've spent the last 30 minutes kind of talking back and forth, getting to know each other.
wasting all of our good content.
Yes,
Yes.
we can repeat it. It's okay.
It's all right.
But
yeah.
it doesn't have the same life.
Well, now you just put it out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was all I'm actually really looking forward to this. This is our first real interview since we launched back on April 30th. And I'm so psyched to have you guys you've been doing this for 3.5 years. You guys, long-standing, fun stuff like that.
We've been a small name for ourselves so far. Yeah. We just had our first out-of-state experience in Salem a couple weeks ago.
Which was
awesome. Super awesome.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos of that. It was great stuff.
Thank you. So I guess we'll just start. What is the Dice Willing podcast? And tell us a little bit about it.
All right, yeah. So Dice Willing podcast is... we're doing a series of campaigns. Right now we're doing Resistance, which is set in the Star Wars universe after The Force Awakens. And we each play, different characters. I GM half the time, and my friend Huff GMs the other half, but I play a character named Pet Kanata, who is descendant of Maz Kanata from the movie, and Sally.
I am Sally, and I play every female character. Almost. I also play Sergei Talin, the first mate to Pet Kanata, and I also play the medical droid, Meds, because I'm the only person with actual medical experience. Voila.
Who I noticed really enjoys effing with Sergei, from what I could tell.
Actually, I think Meds, me and Meds, we'll talk back and forth a little bit. I usually actually mess with Jin, the character played by Huff most of the time with Meds.
And she is by and far everyone's favorite character. Sergei is, at least.
Well, she's quick on the draw, from what I could tell. So
I'm good at improv.
And post-process helps a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I guess tell us a little about yourselves. So what inspired the actual podcast? What brought you guys together to start this thing?
Well, first of all, I was lucky enough to meet Sally at the Boise State Quidditch practice because I was on the team. And actually, the whole thing that I got, my pickup line, my go-to was I had just homebrewed a Fate Harry Potter system. And I had invited pretty much the entire team. And I was just like this, this really cool, strong girl just showed up and plowed through 3 people at practice. And I'm like, dibs. So my go-to line was, hey, I'm starting a new RPG based on Harry Potter that I made myself. You want to hang out sometime and make some characters?
Actually, you never invited me.
Oh.
It was Marissa who invited me. She was also the person who invited me to practice. What happened is that Marissa and all of my friends that had recently met up with Casey had decided to make characters, and they had all been playing on this Harry Potter thing. And I had met Casey, but he was way too shy to talk to me. And so
I feel your pain.
And so I came up with this idea for this character that I really liked. new wizarding student, because like we were all starting out as first years, whose mom was a mechanic, and she wanted to bring technology into the magical world. And so I came up with this idea, and I talked to Casey, and he was like, yeah, go for it. And then I ended up playing like 6 different characters by the end of it, because Casey kept inviting me to come to the different podcasts, and we had so many people that we had to split the role-playing session up several times. And so I just have a new character every single time the session started if my character wasn't already in there.
Did you have a hard time keeping them all straight?
No.
No?
It was good practice for the actual podcast where we jump into NPCs at any given moment. But, yeah, when a geek is smitten, they have a real hard time saying no. She's like, oh, can I try out this new different character you're going to introduce? And I'm like, I have a crush on you, so yes.
Why, yes.
We started dating there shortly after, and it's nice, actually, seeing somebody who's really into RPGs and really into getting into characters, and, just that doesn't happen, so I'm not letting go of her.
So just to be clear then, I don't think you actually said it, but you guys are together then.
Oh, yeah. We've been together for about
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Nice.
And we... Like, it's funny because, like, we talk to each other in character sometimes. Like, I'll just be walking around and then, like, all of a sudden I'll burst into Sergey and be, like, talking to Casey. And then, like, he'll finally, like, come back as Peck or some other character. And, like, that's how we work out our personalities for our characters a lot, is that we actually start talking in character way before we introduce them on the podcast.
It's weird because, like, at 12:30 at night, because she cannot sleep, she just turns over and she's like, oh, hello there, Peck. And I'm like, Sergey, what is it?
I cannot sleep.
It is romantic.
Yes,
so...
yes. What we do is we
silly.
just talk to each other in character at night, 12:30, for an hour and a half before we actually go to sleep.
Very good.
Yeah. But the actual podcast came about because, I was inspired by, all the new different podcasts, and I had money to spend, and I was like, hey, this is something that's really cool and creative, and it'll just give me a lot of really cool life skills to, put out there. And so I talked to my uncle, who's a graphic designer up in Seattle, and he designed our logo. And I got some friends who didn't work out that first time. We just didn't have the right chemistry, but we've actually got a really good group, and we've got 19 episodes recorded, and we only have 6 released, so we have a nice back catalog too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Mike, would you care to explain how you ran into...
Yeah, so bit of happenstance with all that. So me and Casey actually work at the same call center.
Mm-hmm.
First time we were introduced because he got on my team. We just happened to be sitting there. I had a Nerd Effect, I think my Nerd Effect sweatshirt on.
Probably your hoodie if you saw the D20.
Yep. And so he was asking about that. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm on a podcast. And he's like, oh hey, I'm releasing a podcast. And so we just started talking about it. Yep.
Very cool.
Kismet.
Group stuff.
Mason, you're fairly new to this conversation.
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
No. I'm just saying in general because you don't know. How much do you know of? Have you listened to their show yet?
Yes.
Yes. And what do you think?
I like it so far. I have to admit, I only started listening to it today.
We'll take any listeners.
No, so far I like it. I tried not to chain podcasts. I don't try to listen to one episode right after another after another. Mm-hmm. So what my initial plan today was I listened to episode 1, mm-hmm. and then I went and I was painting minis while listening, and then I went and listened to the Privateer Press podcast. And then I was going to go back and listen to episode 2, but I fell asleep. So
he does that even on our show.
Oh, sleep is so nice.
Yeah, I unfortunately have sleep apnea, so I don't sleep well ever. So I tend to sleep whenever my body decides it wants to. Luckily, I've already gotten enough sleep today that I should be good to go for a while. But yes, I have fallen asleep recording the podcast before. But yes, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun. So but my big question is part of the gaming part of it. Why the new editions, or the new edition, however you want to look at it, because it has, from what I've heard, the Fantasy Flight Star Wars games have the same problem as the Warhammer games, whereas each of them has its own power creep level. So why the new Fantasy Flight Star Wars? And also the dice. I'm very reluctant to ever touch, like, I didn't want to touch Warhammer Fantasy when it came, the role-playing game when it came out from Fantasy Flight. Reluctant to touch Star Wars. Simply on the fact that they don't use normal dice, whereas I have very large bags of normal dice that I can use for most every game system.
And they are so much cheaper too. I bought 7 sets, and they're $15 each, and that was, seeing how Sally doesn't even use them, they were sort of a waste of money.
I'm special. No, actually, I think I have a good answer for you on that one. With regular D&D and using the D20s and other things of that nature, you have this situation where sometimes if you fail, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you didn't really roll a high enough thing to say, oh, well, it's close to a fail, but you didn't. But with Star Wars, you can fail, and you can, this new Edge of the Empire system, you can fail but have advantages, and so it's not completely a wash. So you can be like, oh, I failed at fixing this computer, but I have an advantage because I realize I now know what the problem is, and I can go get supplies to fix it, and it'll give me an advantage later on when I try to fix the computer later.
Okay.
And I actually love the Edge of the Empire system so much better than, like, all other dice systems now. Like, I'm always kind of upset when we're playing, like, regular D&D, and, like, I play a neutral evil wizard, and when she fails, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be good at this.
Yeah.
What is my problem?
See, and another thing, it's just, I really love how narrative the system is, because you guys, I'm not sure if you noticed while listening, we don't really have a story set up as GMs. We let the players sort of free flow and throw ideas out there, and whatever sticks we like, we keep and we roll with. And I think it gives the players a lot more opportunity to influence the story and sort of help build that, because, you know, even if they do fail, they have advantages because they can build that into the system, or the GM can use despairs, or, you know, if Huff has a good idea across the table, he's not even involved in the role, he can throw out an idea and they're like, okay, that's really cool. As in, like, D20s systems, it's just like, okay, I rolled under, I fail, and that's just what it is. And, you know, just the different mechanics on, like, the system is built to tell a story, not just to play a game, but just sort of sit around with friends and really figure out the world. And I think that's really what drew us to it.
That's kind of, I think that's, you said you heard part of the initiative with ours. As you've probably probably noticed, the big difference between probably ours and yours is that ours is a big BS session. if you haven't quite figured that out, we tend to, like, do a lot of side talking and kind of make jokes out of it and have fun with it. We do a little bit of role playing with it, but
try to. Mike tries to guide us along as much as possible, but Nikki and I are kind of ruthless when it comes to fucking around.
That's about how ours is too. We just cut out most of it.
I do a lot of work. Anytime Huff's explaining the rules, I tend to trim that out a bit because it goes on for a good 3 minutes. But it's one of those things, and you guys, I can tell just listening to the initiative, you guys really enjoy, you know, how you play, and I think that's the beauty of RPGs, because there is no right or wrong way to play an RPG if you're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And, you know, for us, like me and Sally, we love getting into characters, and, you know, it's just helping people sort of expand on that theatricality and really get into them. That I really love about doing the podcast.
What is do you have, like, any experience as far as that kind of help you with the theatrical part of it?
I know Sally does. You won an award, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
When I was an award winner at the table?
Yes, I am an Alabama AISA All-Star Theater kid from back in the day, and it was one award because I did a scene from Wicked where I was not Elfie, I was Glinda, and I sang Popular, and it got me an award. And that was about it. And I've done other acting things, but, like, it was just a high school thing. Because we actually, instead of having a drama club, all the seniors had to take a drama class. And so it was just one of those things that we did at as our senior project kind of thing, and I loved it.
Wait, all the seniors in your high school class had to take drama?
I graduated with a class of 24.
Oh.
So
Alabama,
everyone
got
had
it.
to take it. Well, it was a private school.
Oh, okay.
So,
And my parents always said I was overdramatic, so I mean, I guess that's where I got it from.
It's just natural personality.
Well,
I gotcha.
I always wanted to be a storyteller. You know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a comic book artist, but then I realized I can't draw, or not well enough to actually put anything out there. But
I know what you feel.
like you can see it in your head, sort of. I'm not actually a visual thinker, even.
Yeah, but you got to think of it though. It could also be all in the narrative too. So I mean, look at webcomics like Cyanide and Happiness, where it's just stick figures. So don't hold yourself back.
Well, I actually found that I actually really enjoy building stories and worlds with other people too, and I think RPGs are the best way to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I got shoved in as game master on my second ever real session because the game master before and this new group of friends who finally were letting me into their Pathfinder game was cheating with his girlfriend, who was also the host of the house. So everything was about to fall apart before I even got this chance. I'm like, no, I can fix this. I'll try. So, I mean, with this at least I get to play characters instead of just every single bit character.
Yeah. That is always one of the things that I have the problem with when I'm DMing is like, I want to bring my NPCs to life, but I know that they're going to get 5 seconds of screen time, and then they're probably never going to be seen again. So, you know, or they're going to kill them. One or the other. So...
We've done that with Mike a few times, where he brings in like we called him the elf bitch construct.
Oh, yeah.
And
So the reoccurring NPC, they just straight out killed her. So,
like she was supposed to be
I had
this
it
all
stage fried.
dominating.
and so she came back after him. They killed her again. So eventually I got it to the point where the bad guys recovered her body and used it to make it was a flesh golem construct, like I think Frankenstein, but on a clockwork frame.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yours
So
is
she was the
steampunk,
elf
right?
bitch construct, because they kept killing my elf bitch off.
Yeah, we.
Ooh, scary NPC. Poison. That, of course, that's my character's answer to just about every problem in Mike's game is poison. And if it isn't, his answer is sex. So...
See, we have this problem instead where we keep handing out NPCs to different players, and we ended up having like full scenes where it's just NPCs talking to each other. This has no bearing on the actual plot in any sort of way. And like,
Yeah.
we actually do like kill off an NPC in like episode 14, and everybody just lost their shit.
Like they're like almost about to cry, and of course, like it's Casey's playing one of the NPCs and I'm playing the other NPC, and we're having this moment where we're brother and sister, and I'm like, oh no, and he's like, oh no, it was bad.
And we're just hamming it up, and they are just eating it up. And like, we got Huff across the table, and he's just crying. He's like, why did you do this? And he's GMing.
Moral of the story is don't give us room. Like, give us an inch, we'll take over.
I do like that your character was apparently in a past relationship with a Wookiee,
Oh yeah.
and then Wookiee runs and jumps off a cliff. I was like, what just happened? I was
Well,
like,
because I actually like when I was designing my character Sergei, I was like, I usually play high charisma characters usually, and so like one of my last character from Shadowrun is a charisma mancer sorceress, and she's awesome and I love her, but she's super like she does like kind of sexual things, like kind of like she tries to like flirt and charm people a lot.
It's her go-to for everything. That or turn invisible.
Or turn invisible. It's great. But this character, I specifically said she's asexual. When I started off the character before we even started playing with her, and so the thing is with that character in particular, he's scorned because she's not actually attracted to like anyone. And so it's great because like we actually have another character later on that'll try to flirt with her, and she'll be like, "I do not know what you're doing. You are so dumb, so dumb. Here, help me pick this up."
so the Wookiee. So what you say is the Wookiee's all emotional and just
Yeah. He's friend zoned, but like in a really sad way because he thinks there's maybe a shot. I guess I don't know.
And there never will be.
There never will be.
Oh, I I don't want to spoil anything.
No spoilers.
For you. But in 2 weeks, there's going to be something big for that Wookiee.
Yeah.
I'll take that as I heard it and just leave it there.
You're a dirty man.
I am, slightly.
At a certain point after you listen, you'll wish it was sexual.
Oh.
What the?
As we say, our NPCs, they turn over new leaves, and
Give us dramatic moments instead of funny ones.
so sometimes we do have funny ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like our NPC funny one.
So I guess while we're here, who were your other players that are with your show? I know in episode 4 you had a new guy join.
Yeah, Francisco. He is one of our really good friends, and he played a lot of straight up D&D where it's just he's on rails and he's really slowly sort of learning to explore his character. But then actually in episode 8 we're getting our second new cast member. Her name is Carly. And do you want to tell a little bit?
Yeah, Carly is our very, very short and small other female that we have on the podcast. She has blue and pink hair, and she's awesome. But she's playing actually the daughter of our character. We're not going to say that. Cut that. That's spoilers, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know.
She's going to be playing a very fighty character who is related to one of the current cast. We'll just put it that way. But
okay.
we're really excited just because what we did to sort of get people more initiated, especially Francisco, and get them used to playing characters, is we recorded actually 12 sessions of a D&D sort of spin-off with brand new different characters, and we just have that as back catalog, and just to work on their acting skills and really get the synergy up as players. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, Francisco, he played like 20 sessions before we ever met. I got Huff into his first game. Sally's first game ended in disaster.
Yeah.
And then, after that, she didn't play until she met me. And then Carly had played 8 sessions before. But it's just, I love getting to play with new players and sort of mold them, because a lot of them, they have really interesting ideas of what RPGs are, and they may not know what they're getting into. But if you can sort of lead them and guide them through that, they just get this new life and this new energy that I think a lot of old players sort of lose out on. Just because it's something that they've always gotten to do, always gotten to explore these characters, always gotten to explore these worlds and roll dice and kill monsters and be the heroes. And new players, like, this is Fantasia for them. It's just it blows their mind.
I do have to say, as having been a gamer for a very, very long time now, that there was like back in the day, kind of before people knew better, and also coming from the fact that role-playing games do come out of a war game background, that things were very tactically oriented, and there was, especially if you look at like the first edition of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons,
Stock Zero.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Seiko. So glad that's gone. But you have a very us versus them mentality, or them versus me, more correctly, because the DM is almost intended to be the antagonist of the players. So, and the players aren't even really supposed to necessarily be friends in the game. Like, you could play an evil assassin, like, as a class, and if it comes down to it, you want what that other character has, you kill him, and it's and then it started out like that, and then it got more cooperative, which was, in my opinion, very good. Mm-hmm. And then, like, during the early 90s, there started to be a renaissance that really finally kind of came to fruition in a lot of ways during that time period with White Wolf's World of Darkness, and the very much openness of the role-playing compared to a lot of other games before that. But then things kind of fell back away from that into, I almost want to call it a video game mentality. Mind you, I love playing video games, but they're a different experience than a role-playing game. And, and it seems like maybe with the new Star Wars and some stuff and some other games, Numenera would be an example of another one that I'm rather taken with at the moment, actually.
Yeah.
it seems like the games are starting to open up more again, like, and be less constrictive, less on rails, as you, to use the term you used earlier.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really beautiful because everything does come in cycles. So there was that renaissance in the 90s, and then it lulled back into, people who liked that old way started, pushing out a little bit more because their voices weren't heard. Their game style weren't really played. And so like 3.5 and 4th edition of D&D is very mechanical based, very tactical movement. And we've sort of come back into that where, yes, we do have really good video games. We do have really good sort of styles of play, but you can do that with a video game. You can do that with that technology, but you can't recreate that experience of sitting around with a bunch of friends, bullshitting with some dice, some beer, and some character sheets, and really exploring this world.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I agree. It's a beautiful renaissance, and I think that's where we're going to thrive in it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, even though I've played a few times, I'm still like a RPG virgin, I guess.
You're a noob.
I totally am. I just say, I basically choose characters that hit hard and take beatings at the same time, and
Sean Patrick, noob again.
We all start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes. I have yet to venture off on anybody who has any sort of magical or like extra abilities.
I completely understand. My favorite character will always be a barbarian because it's just fun to lose yourself in a very dumb character who just hits really, really hard.
My guy's constantly looking for fights. We're in a new town? Great. Where's the underground boxing match? I just need to hit someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of basically where I'm at. So it's funny. It's fun hearing you guys talk about this. I do nothing of that at all. Like it's beyond. It's all beyond me.
Next time we record, if Nikki isn't here, you're gonna get tested in that.
Oh, that's right. Mason's got it. We're gonna do like a 2.0 alternative edition type of thing.
Initiative, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? Can you expand on that? I'm interested.
Well, it's actually going to be Numenera because I'm going to force somebody to play it. Damn it! A lot of people are kind of put off by the system. Not that it's hard. It's actually a very simple, easy system. There's a difficulty number. You roll over it or you don't, and stuff happens along the way. And there's things called GM intrusions where they kind of work. They kind of sound like they can work like the advantages in
threats.
Threats, yeah. In the Star Wars game where the GM can say, for example, an encounter is going easier than the GM wants it to go. Mm-hmm. He can use a GM intrusion, give the players the option of taking it, but because it gives the players more experience points if they take it. But something happens that is essentially disadvantageous in the initial run to the players.
Sort of upping the ante.
It ups the ante, exactly. Okay. If a player rolls a 1 on their die 20 roll, the DM gets a free one that he can just go, bah! If he wants. It's actually easier for characters to roll better in the game, so it's a game based around success as far as like the players are going to succeed more often than not.
Yeah.
But the DM doesn't roll any dice ever.
I have a soundboard to work with. I'd rather do that.
Yeah. But it's the whole premise of the dice system is that the players roll. Monsters have target numbers, so if you are attacking the monster, you roll to hit. You try to roll over its defense target number. If you are being attacked, you roll a defense and try to beat its attack target number. So the DM never rolls a die. I mean, you can if you need to, basically do a coin toss or something. Mm-hmm. You need to. But there's no mechanic in the game where the DM rolls any dice. So it's very much more player driven in that respect also, but the world itself also is really fascinating to me, and I think it would be a very good world to help develop role playing skills in, because the world is the Earth is in what they call the Ninth Age. There have been 8 great civilizations. It is well beyond the Earth's actual life expectancy. Somewhere along the lines, one of the great civilizations did something that stopped the sun from blowing up. But the
So they
characters don't know
stopped a nuclear reaction from happening?
Well, no, it's the sun still works. It's just not going to blow up and go into a supernova.
But isn't that part of the whole process of it?
They figured out how to stop the natural process.
Magic science.
Don't question it.
Magic
Just,
science.
just let it happen. It's okay.
But however, Mercury no longer exists, but the characters don't know that.
So we sacrificed Mercury for the sun. I'd take that deal.
I would too. So, but yeah, basically the Numenera is the detritus of all 8 of these previous civilizations. So, is magic? Maybe. Or you could be manipulating nanites in the air. Who knows?
Or midichlorians.
No. Never midichlorians.
I incited anger and it worked. Yes.
But so it's a really interesting system, and I want to give it a try. But like, a few too many of my regular role playing buddies, not including Mike, but Mike knows them all, are a little too stuck into. I've put a lot of money into Pathfinder, so I only want to play Pathfinder. I am scared of your other systems.
See, which is funny because Pathfinder is so hard just to even level up a character. There's so many feats to go through, so
Right.
many splat books, and I think it's just going through and.
I would say, quite honestly, with Pathfinder, I haven't opened a Pathfinder book in over 2 years when making characters. I just go to the SRD because it's easier.
Yeah. See, I have this problem where I started out with D&D, but I buy so many new books. Like, I grew up on Redwall. Anybody ever read Redwall by Brian Shocks? It's about the little talking animals with swords and...
Oh, yes. Well,
but there's a system based on a comic book called Mouse Guard,
Yes.
where you are little mice and you go around like slaying snakes, or actually no, you run from the snakes. Never fight a snake, and never fight owls, but you kill stoats and ferrets, and you defend your civilization and go tracking. And like it's got a really interesting system that just came out with the 2nd edition. I have Feng Shui, too, which it's a Robin D. Laws book, who is a classic RPG writer, where you are an action movie hero.
Yeah.
And you don't even really have to set up your character. There's archetypes, and you just play a certain archetype and level them up barely by adding them specific quirks. I have so many untouched systems on my shelf, and I could never just sit there and play only one, and Sally knows this. And I was thinking about it, and maybe trying Numenera just because you had a really great description on that, but then I realized Sally needs to dice shame all of her dice that are not Star Wars dice. You want to tell them why?
I say, well, for Numenera, you need 1d20 and occasionally a die percentile and occasionally a die 6. So.
No. Our last game we had, I played, as I said, I was playing this wizard, and she's really intelligent. She does all this great stuff, and Casey's alarm's going off. And either way, so I'm trying to roll this lore check. I have an advantage on this lore check. I rolled not above a 5, 11 rolls in a row.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling this moment where I'm ready to take some of my dice and just put one in the microwave and have all of them watch so that they know better now. But I mean, and that's why I use my phone, because I use a lot of dice rollers, because I know that statistically, because of their system that they use, it can't always all be bad.
Right.
And so that's usually actually why I use a dice roller. Because
the phone says that I know it's random, but it's not always random. There's an algorithm.
It's not completely random.
Well, most of the algorithms are based off nanosecond timing when you hit the button. Mm. So it's actually pretty darn random.
So just hit a button, let it roll, and it comes up with whatever it comes with?
Well, yeah, well, you know how you have your dice roller open. Okay, I need to roll a die 20 plus 5. You hit that button. It uses the exact time as a basis for its random algorithm.
Oh, okay.
That's really cool.
That's how most of them work. Hypothetically, you could game the system, but
you need to know code.
Humans just aren't. Our reaction times aren't good enough. Even if you had a nanosecond counter, 1, to see the nanosecond counter moving, and 2, to hit the button to game the system. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter. They are essentially random.
Until we get cyber eyes and cyber brains to comprehend it.
Right, but then I'm plugged into my phone anyway, and it'll roll whatever I tell it to. As far as dice shaming goes, there used to be a cafe in town called Cyberplace, and me and Mike and a bunch of our other friends would always role play there, and occasionally you hear this as a die went flying across the cafe towards the front door. It would land in the because it had 2 sets of double doors, but we usually kept the inside ones open unless it was miserable hot or miserable cold outside. So it would land in the atrium basically and bounce around in there. And generally those dice were picked up later by the staff and thrown away because no one ever went back.
It's like golf balls that get derfed.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is funny. Now, see, the funniest thing about this to me now is that is now the location of All About Games.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was in that exact same spot?
Yeah, the exact same spot.
That makes sense, though, considering, looking how it's set up, like, I could see how that would make a cyber cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It was just funny because you just occasionally they were usually die 20s, flying across the cafe.
Turns out that's how All About Games actually has their bulk set.
That makes sense, actually.
It's like, Jesus, we've just found like 300 of these back here.
Just randomly vacuuming, they'll hear something like get sucked up, and they'll be like, "Oh, and more dice."
Oh, critical hit.
So, yeah.
Vacuum blows up.
So, yeah, I understand dice shaming well. My dice still don't cooperate all the time.
What's funny is that I have a ton of D6s for my character Elby from our Shadowrun games, who is the sorceress, and they usually work beautifully most of the time. And I think it's because I specifically picked out the dice because I thought they matched her personality.
Okay.
And so I guess it kind of works out sometimes.
Yeah, but we haven't ever gotten her a single good D20. She on average rolls a 5.
Ouch. There's actually I know it's on our private gaming group thing for our Friday and Saturday games, but there's actually a way you could check die 20s by floating them in water.
Let's try that.
Yeah, I've seen the test. I can pull it up when we get home.
Yeah. So it's great.
So you're saying every die 20 you've ever owned has been weighted?
Well, the way a lot of them are made, especially the fancier the die looks on the outside, they're really impure on the inside and aren't necessarily weighted fairly. That's why I have the specific green and red and yellow die 20 that I play with a lot, because I have quite honestly figured out it is not a fair die. Generally likes to roll in the mid-teens, so...
Interesting. I never would have
I'll
guessed.
keep that for later.
See, I never really had...
I think Casey's taking notes right now.
No. My alarm kept going off.
I know, I'm just kidding.
But that test does actually work. So...
And I think there's actually another way, and I'm not recommending that any of my players do this, where you can bake the die in the oven and reset that to a specific side.
Yes.
But you never heard this, Sally. Get that grin off your face. See, but I never had this problem because even when my die sucked, my players cheered because I'm usually rolling against them.
Right.
I'll just do it to all your dice.
The other thing is I do not use that die when I'm a DM. Mm-hmm. So I figured that's my way of balancing out karma, is that I let my players, have the advantage of not having to roll against that thing when I'm DMing. So.
Or you can just be Nicky and buy a D20 that's the size of a baseball.
And too loud to roll on the table during conversations.
Yes. That thing hits the table and gunk in the microphones.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a ferret in here. I killed it. Just landed funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so how often is the podcast going to be coming out on a regular basis? Like I heard, on the first one that I got to listen to, obviously the schedule is wonky and weird due to the start, listening to 2 and then having May the 4th and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we decided to take advantage of International Tabletop Day on April 30th, and then May the 4th was, it was too perfect not to have a Star Wars podcast come out there, but actually every single Tuesday, hopefully in the morning, we are releasing an episode, and we're going to keep that going. We have material until August, and
Damn, I wish we could say the same.
It's pretty much how our
You're
friend
popular.
takes out. Turn it on silent, Case.
I'm just going to hide it. I'm going to hide it in the padded case across the room. And it's, well, we all love gaming, and pretty much this is the only thing we record anymore, and it's the only thing we actually play anymore, because everyone, and this is my happiest moment as a DM, everyone got so invested in their characters that they're asking me, hey, when are we recording next time? When are we doing this? And Sally's going to Korea for military training because she is Army ROTC, to be a nurse in the Army for like a month.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks.
And
I'm almost there.
thank
Not
you
yet.
for the good insurance.
Oh, ulterior motives. I got you.
Yeah. I
See,
see how it is.
well, I get to be the Army wife here. I got to have some perks.
That's okay. My wife works for BSU, so I know how the benefits work.
Exactly.
Apparently, I
For
get.
government jobs.
Apparently, as the spouse, we just found this out. Apparently, as a spouse of an employee of BSU, gets 9 credits free every semester, so they can take up to 9.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
I know. So you can take
That's
up
3 classes. So
take up to 9 credits every semester, which blew my mind. Which is great because I'm going to BSU for the GIM program, so I'm excited.
All right, so you guys got plans for other games in the future, right?
Yes.
So do you have any set plans, or just still thinking about it? What do you got?
Well, one of the things that we did before was Shadowrun, and Shadowrun is a beautiful, fantastic system that is completely bogged down in its own rules.
Mason throwing up the horns.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to you about something later.
Yes. But they are releasing Shadowrun Anarchy, which is a new sort of, it's a lighter rules system set in the Sixth World, and I love the Sixth World. I love everything about it.
I'll say, just for the possible person listening to this podcast who has not heard of Shadowrun, basically, Dungeons and Dragons and Cyberpunk had a baby and let White Wolf raise it.
Hey, Mason. Tell the world who we met at Cherry City Comic Con. Speaking of Shadowrun.
Echo?
Yes.
Yes. You know all that awesome art in the Shadowrun books?
Yeah?
We met Echo. We have an interview with Echo. It should be out on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It is out.
It is. It was the first one I put up.
It was the first one you put out. She is oh so very awesome. She kind of gave Justin and I free art books and signed them.
Mm-hmm. I specifically gave Mason the Shadowrun one because I know he's a big goober for it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But Echo, she's totally amazing and awesome.
She made us do the interview in pirate stance.
Yes.
So we had to put our leg up.
Yeah, her and Dustin are the Pirates Hit the Horn. It was great.
The Captain Morgan.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so yeah, I can't say it enough. Echo's amazing. She's a totally wonderful person, a sweetheart,
And obviously an amazing artist.
and an incredible artist. Yeah, and if we ever get together again sometime, I'll try to remember to bring the book, because like some of the, besides just seeing the art, like it shows like how she went from like photographs of people to the art. And like one of the ones that I found that was really interesting, did you ever see the 5th edition starter box?
I own it. Yeah, actually, that's how I got in.
The whole cover of the top of the top box top was actually designed as one piece of art. It's not cut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole thing was actually designed to actually wrap around like that from the beginning. Like that's how she designed it. So I thought that was really neat. That because like again, I'm not an artist, so I have trouble thinking of like how to
The
get
dimensions.
around the dimension and have the art there be the right direction and so yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And actually, that's why we do have one of our friends, Ezra, who is an amazing artist. I commissioned him and paid him to make character art for this, because I think that really helps bring a new level of development for the game and all that. So all of our crew is, has its own art, and he's actually currently designing art for the ship, the Betsy. and seeing how we stole that directly out of Mandalorian War and Peace Museum. It's going to have...
Which is delightful that it has a gift shop, by the way.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It happened randomly.
I also
I kind of figured on the gift shop.
and the fact that Sergei has no concept of money at all.
What's funny about her race is that the males actually are like nomadic, and the females run the cities and towns and like all the shops, and they have their own economy system, and they trade with like other planets and like different systems and stuff. But Sergei, it's funny because we didn't realize at the time when I was talking about Sergei and like how she reads and does all this stuff. But I said, oh yeah, she can speak common and stuff, but she can't read or write it. But like she kind of knows numbers, but she doesn't know percent signs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it actually turned out to be very, very accurate to what the canon is already in like the Star Wars universe. And so like yesterday, me and Casey were like looking up some more stuff because we were trying to see if someone had done like a written version of the Togorian language, and we found out that like they have they're only literate in their own language, and I was like, this is so perfect. You don't understand.
We're accidentally canon in all of our things because there's no way in Criff that we would be canon on purpose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try. Like, I did read up. Whenever like I create a character, I usually try to do as much backstory and stuff as I can get about the character. So when someone asks me something like really off randomly, I can be like, oh yeah, I know how to answer this in my character and like personality-wise.
But nobody has asked us any questions. But back on to Mike's question, just because he did send that out
poor
there.
Mason shadow ran his pants.
That happens.
So Shadowrun Anarchy.
Sorry, I instigated it.
Hey, it's beautiful stuff, and this is really the first time we've sat around and talked. And I mean, you guys are really great guys with all these different experiences, and that's what I love about the geek and nerd community is just we have all these different niche, areas of, this is just something that really fascinates us. And anytime you can share that with another person who has those similar interests, like, God, I gotta see this art book now. I wonder if she does commissions.
She does?
Yes.
She does.
She's not cheap, but she does.
I don't think we can afford her right now.
Hey, that may be true. But I've wasted a lot more money on a lot less.
BBC actually commissioned her to do a Doctor Who tattoo, which it's basically everything I've ever wanted in a Doctor Who tattoo. So what they did is they apparently at a convention in Europe, she did it so that it was sleeve length, and so that it would wrap around the arm, because they were basically giving away like the mesh tattoo sleeves that you kind of can buy on Halloween, but Doctor Who themed. Mm-hmm. So she did it so the TARDIS was up here, but the Weeping Angel on the bottom was face down, so that way when you hold your arm up to show it, it would be face up. So it all blended together really well. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and like she did a con exclusive print for Cherry City.
Sorry, Mike.
Sorry, but like this one,
we're jerks.
She didn't use a single model. Shutterstock commissioned her to take a ton of their stock images,
24 to be precise,
24, and use them all to make one image. So paring down from different parts of their 24 images into the one image. Because a lot of people will use Shutterstock for lame purposes of just putting a picture on the website or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they will also, a lot of artists will use them as base images for what they're drawing.
Yeah.
But they'll just use one. So what the whole point of this one was that look what you can do if you combine images instead of just taking one static image.
And if you're a fan of Legend of Zelda and lesbians, then you will enjoy it because it's basically it's Zelda and then a female Link making out, basically is what it is. And then that was commissioned. That was built from those 24 images that she found on Shutterstock. So it's freaking dope.
All right, I'm sold. Sally's in agreement here. But
Anarchy.
Yes,
Anarchy. Because Sally, one of the best things to come out of our original recordings for what was going to be Dice Willing was this LB character who Sally has a lot of bubbling charisma, and she decided to make a character just based completely around it, and we can't get a straight answer out of her, and it's a beautiful situation because even if we're just doing stuff around the house, she'll just break into this character, and I just really want to put that on display. But also the Sixth World, there aren't enough good podcasts about it. There isn't enough Shadowrun material for people to go around. And I think just giving people an opportunity to get really into the sixth world of Shadowrun, where it's everything you love about high-tech sci-fi cyberpunk thrillers, plus, magic, goblins, ogres, and actually a really heavy political. And dragons. And if you ever meet a dragon with your party, very dead.
Never let the DM be a dragon. Ever. That's the main rule we learned.
Yeah, it's sort of what killed the campaign.
It's a spectacular way to end it, though.
They killed 40 politicians from the Seattle area.
Oh, well.
Well, we let the person get a little too far ahead of themselves, and by the end of it, everyone that wasn't the DM was trying to kill all of the DM's characters. Where, like, even characters that are, like, they don't want to kill people, they were like, geek this guy.
It was a 6-hour session, and it did not go well.
In only 6 hours? Whoa!
Well, actually, that's one of the weird things, is because we do record an hour an hour and a half at a time. That pares down to about 45 minutes of actual material. And then we take a break. We talk about what we liked in the session, what we actually want to pursue, and then we go in and record another episode.
You guys are way more into that than we are.
It keeps the pace going, because like sometimes like when you have an episode where you like have this like big plan and then you can keep going with it, it makes it so much better than compared to like with Star Wars. We've had this episode where we stopped and we had a 2-month break between recording again, and that kind of completely changed the atmosphere of what that next session was comparatively to where we were going to go.
I remember, we got deep into one game, though. It was like a single campaign. It wasn't on this show. It was back when Brian was visiting back in town. Yeah. We were at his parents' house in their basement. Grandparents' house. And there was like 10 of us there. It was great. It was like a one solid like 5-hour shot campaign, and I remember being dragged into another room to be told something that apparently only my character knows. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like I've like, you're talking to like the most newbie of noobs of this game, and you're telling me I have a thing.
Maybe his 4th session.
Yeah, like
ever.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I know this. I'm like some just random monk who joined the fucking group, and
you didn't know how to metagame that properly.
Oh, it's like you guys have way too much faith in me.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good thing to actually have that weight and that goal, and like knowing that your character is like, oh, I have some sort of big plan brewing. I have this piece of information that is very important to my character. But back to Mike's question. Yes, Shadowrun Anarchy, and what we're going to do is we're going to do basically episodes with 2 characters that we're going to highlight upon, and it's going to sort of follow every little domino in the plan of a dragon as he's sort of going through and setting up different runs and different deals to sort of get this big master plan, and every single run is going to play into a different part of that, and then maybe bring in, some of the fan favorite characters for one big final run where the plan finally comes to fruition.
Cool.
And just sort of build it up, with each vignette, sort of like Pulp Fiction, just in cyberpunk high fantasy.
Nice.
Say dragon again, motherfucker. Say it one more time.
Dragon?
No,
it's over. You're never going to come back here again. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Thank you, LB.
Yeah.
As long as I get to be Sam Jackson's character, then I'm good.
And you completely could. That's the beautiful thing about Shadowrun. You could either play, completely black trench coat with mirrored shades, super spies, or you could just go in with a pink mohawk with 2 guns raging and blowing up buildings.
Last time I played Shadowrun, I was playing Scooter.
Played Borderlands 2?
Yeah. Oh my God. Hitch a ride?
Yeah, he was Scooter.
I even had the opportunity to pull up in the minivan and go, "Want to hitch a ride?"
Oh, that brings me to a question. Did I hear you guys in the show actually say space van at one point?
It's probably
we referenced Scooby-Doo a little too much, just because I think Sergey is Scooby.
Well, here's the thing. The first thing that popped in my brain when I heard that, I kind of had an internal laugh, because the first thing I thought of was like, it was almost like otherworldly. So like, how people like here actually have a van and they'll paint like Star Wars shit on the side of it. Whereas like, what if it was like the opposite, where you had like a space van but it was like Earth stuff.
It's a picture of an accountant on the side.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
clicking at a keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, how funny would that be?
One of the design opportunities I sent over in the notes is up on the top. It's going to say in Mandoa, War and Peace Foundation, because there's no word for museum in Mandoa, but actually in the Star Wars script. But then it's on the very nose of the ship. Bathrooms this direction and
Cafeteria and gift shop inside.
Most pleasant ship ever.
And then actually Peck, one of the things he did add, and I think the only thing that's really going to have a lot of really bursting personality, is he did a World War II fighter bomber pinup of his deceased wife Betsy on the nose of the ship.
Nice.
Adorably sexy.
And she's a Kanaton too, so.
So it's going to be one of those beige, wrinkled, 400-year-old space alien.
So what are your guys' inspirations for the names of your characters?
I'm so glad you asked.
Else's story.
So when we were first deciding to do the Edge of the Empire system again, because we've played other characters before, we have like some legacy characters that come back every now and then and play. But we were coming up with this idea, and I was like, who's my character going to be? Because I wanted this idea to come about, but like I was actually thinking about playing more of a charisma person, but then Casey was wanting to take that. And we were listening to public broadcasting and a story about a Russian guy that flew around the world in a 1-ton helicopter that crashed above Iceland. And was like on this like he crashed and his plane sank straight to the bottom of the ocean, but he managed to get out on like this like raft that popped up. And so he's like in the ice floe on this raft. He sees this polar bear coming through the fog because it was like really super foggy, and he was there for like 3 days. And he like sees this polar bear coming, and the polar bear doesn't see him yet. He sees the polar bear first. And his idea is, well, I know at some point I'm going to have to deal with this polar bear. I might as well go scare it off. And so he gets up and chases this polar bear away from him. The polar bear ends up jumping away from him like to another like iceberg kind of thing, and like keeps running. He says it's like scaring a small child, like playing the boogeyman. And at the end of the interview, the person's like, well, what did you learn about yourself? And he's like, well, I did not really learn much about myself. I know who I am. And his name was Sergey. And I was like, that's my character. You do you, Sergey.
You do you, Sergey.
You do you, Sergey. And then it just kind of kept building from there. Like, I tried to find the alien race that I wanted because I wanted someone to have 1 intelligence and have like an extremely high brawn. And I found the Togorians, and I was like, this is perfect. This is what I want. And we went from there. And now we have a colorblind super gun jockey.
And for Peck, it was just, I really like Maz Kanata's character, you know, the really long-lived space pirate who's just seen all the shit. Mm-hmm. And she's gone through so much in her life, and I'm like, that is such a cool race. And I tried to look up more information, and there was none. So I'm like, I'm going to make it. And so I homebrewed everything, you know, got all the stats, and just gave him a silhouette 0 because Peck is tiny. And then in the process of, you know, Sally discovering her character, because the way she does that, she talks to him, talks to me in character for like an hour and a half, you know, just trying to build up the idea of who this is so she knows when things happen, how to react to it and how it would be appropriate for her character. I developed this pirate captain. Originally he was going to be dashing and heroic, and I did 180 because Peck is not dashing. He is definitely not heroic, and he has made a promise to his wife to never harm another being, but he's fine commanding other people to do it for him.
Which is me.
Yay, by proxy.
Exactly. And, you know, I was just sort of tired of, like, rolling dice to blow stuff up. And I thought, how could you influence the combat? How could you influence the world just by talking? Because I think a lot of times in RPGs, it is hard to get really heavy charisma characters to actually, like, interact with the world. And so I just made this scoundrel scumbag liar who is in, like, Pirates of the Caribbean style, Caribbean meets Star Wars style armor, and just goes around berating people who are 3 feet taller than him.
I do believe the mention of a pirate hat was mentioned at one point, so that's pretty awesome.
He's self-conscious about his height because he's about 3 inches tall, shorter than Maz Kanata.
Oh, jeez.
He's tiny. We actually have a thing where Sergey's like trying to figure out what age he is because she thinks he's actually she thinks he's very young because he's so small. And so we have like this back and forth where, oh, you are younger than me? And he's like, no, I'm not. It's funny. Listen to our podcast.
And just to be clear, from what I understand, the show actually takes place directly after Force Awakens, right?
Yeah. When we start off, it's 3 months after, and one of the problems I have with a lot of storytelling is there's no real sense of time. Everything, even though it takes years and years to come out, is a 5-week process and to tell the story. So we actually jump ahead a lot. So I think we're actually 4 months after where we started on the podcast, where we currently are, just because we want to really explore the moves the First Order is making and sort of how the New Republic, because they were backing financially the Resistance, how that is playing out and how it's sort of affecting the other star systems. And so we have a decent base knowledge, but every time we go to a new planet, we try to research and we try to sort of do almost speculative fiction. Like it's because we have no new material, and I think that's an amazing place to start off. Because not a lot of people are exploring, Star Wars in the current generation. And I don't know. We may be totally off base in a lot of our predictions, but I think that's half the fun.
Yeah.
No, not until the next movie.
Exactly, and that's 2 years now. Until then, we are the canon.
Yeah, let's make that claim right now. See how Lucasfilms responds.
Yeah.
Please don't sue us.
Hey, maybe they'll invite us to be actual characters. We'll be in the background.
You can voice little CGI versions of your characters and
or
have them be extras in the background. Float they could be in the background pillaging from the Resistance when they're not looking.
That would be so beautiful. You don't even know. Okay.
That's our new life goal.
Well, I have to say, I really liked what you did with Meds and her personality quirks with the droid. I just loved what you did with that.
Thanks. No, it was funny because Meds actually was not planned at all. The accident happened on the ship, and then Huff's character started freaking out, and all of a sudden she appeared out of nowhere. I just started playing her, and it came to fruition, and now she is a fully fleshed out character of the crew.
With official character art.
Character art.
And that's one of the things. That's how most of our NPCs happen. It's just somebody has this idea and they start adding to the story. And I mean, that's my favorite thing about playing with these people, because it's not even just recording for a podcast. It's playing and hanging out with your friends. And it's such a beautiful experience because we are so much closer since we started recording and since we started really thinking creatively on this big project than we were ever beforehand.
That's why we do it. I mean, literally, this podcast was started because, I need a reason to hang out with my friends. Mm-hmm. And I asked these fools to hop on board, and here we are, 3.5 years later.
History in the making.
Yeah. So.
Well, technically, I offered up my sexy vocals, but yeah.
That's why call centers love you.
Boom.
He does have a very soothing voice.
I get asked on a daily basis, "Are you really a person?" I thought you were recording. Every day. Every single day I get, I thought you were recording. I'm sorry. Or somebody going, payment.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Fun stuff.
Then you should, God, if you guys weren't being monitored or recorded, there's be so much fun to just be had. And you could just tell them, for English, let's run.
No. Yeah, we'd get fired. It depends. Please don't press anything. I cannot.
Numero 8.
Just start throwing out fake languages for Mandalorian. Press 3. Excuse me?
Press 4.
Oh, man. Yeah, we got a language line, too. That would be kind of fun. So we go to the language line. We get an operator to tell them what language we need. Mandalorian. Wookiee. Do you have a Wookiee representative?
There's got to be somebody nerdy enough in your office to speak Klingon.
That'd be really cool.
We will find them. Life finds a way.
No, I think a really sweet story I read the other day on the
Wait,
internet.
you're going to be Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, or Jeff Goldblum Wookiee. That's how he makes his appearance.
Oh Lord.
We do modulate all the voices to be a lot deeper with the Wookiees, which is fun because we're really bad at making Wookiee noises, so we've decided just to make it so that you guys can understand what's being said through.
I did notice. I was like, did somebody just join the game for a second? And then after a second, I was like, oh wait, no, that's the same guy, just deeper.
Yeah, no, my testicles dropped midway through recording, and
And then you get the highest voices, you just have her kick you in.
I mean, it's cool though because because I'm like such good friends with both Huff and Casey, and like we actually talk about like the canon, like what's going on with the story a lot. Is that I do get to play a lot of NPCs, like a lot of the big bad females, and so we actually have it where instead of like a guy trying to be like, oh hello, it's so nice to meet you, traveler, and like flicks his like hair that's not very long, I can actually be like, oh hello, it's really nice to meet you. I'm glad you came over here, and go through all that voices stuff.
and she gets bored if she doesn't play enough
I do get
characters.
so bored.
That's why she ended up with 6th in the Harry Potter RPG when we first started out. She had a character in literally every single little subgroup.
Like, I'm a part of all the houses.
I think I had one in almost every single house.
You did. You had 2 Hufflepuffs, 3 Gryffindors, a Slytherin, and a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
It was chaos. Absolute chaos. That actually burnt me out from trying to... Well, okay, so I invited way too many people, and way too many people were excited. We ended up having 2 6-hour sessions twice a week. So just like Thursday for 6 hours, and then Sunday.
That's almost a full-time job, or at least a part-time job.
It was chaos, and it actually burnt me out for like 6 months after I did that for 2.5. Just from RPGs in general, it's just like, I'm dead. I can't think creatively. And just trying to counter Sally's, wild fascinations, because I can say a lot of things about Sally, but the most honest thing is she is really creative, and it's nice to actually be dating somebody who keeps up with your nerdiness, but who like is sort of a creative heavyweight, because she always has really great ideas
I like
for
to
all her
test the
stories.
DMs.
Like, but you can't do that. Oh, you didn't say I couldn't.
No, and we've had a lot of conversations that have ended up that way. Casey spent spent several hours coming up with this trap, like this puzzle, for us. And my character, and it's just me because I love puzzle games. Like, I'm super into Portal 2 and like everything like that. And so he gives us this puzzle, and like he starts like telling us like how it's working, and all of a sudden my brain's like, guys, it's weighed by souls. The bridge is weighed by souls. And Casey's like just slowly like just hangs his head on the table because like he had been trying like so hard to like stump us, and like I came up with in like the first 5 minutes.
It was the first 5 seconds. Like they were pushing a donkey on one side, and there were 2 people walking on the other, and starts leaning towards the 2 people, and she just stops instantly. It's like, oh, it's weighed by souls, and I'm just like, you did one test. You did one.
So is there... Wait, now hold on. How did you just come up with that off the top of your head?
I'm very...
Now, hold on. Is it you figuring it out, or is it him giving you too much information?
No, it was me figuring it out.
Oh.
Yeah, she's clever. Clever girl. Yeah, no.
Raptor noises.
now?
Well, if he's going to be Jeff Goldblum, might as well.
That's true. That's true.
Life will find a way. Oh, okay, either way.
Dun, 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 dun,
No, we
dun,
try not
dun,
to-
dun, dun, dun.
We try not to like give too much information. Like if he's DM, I'm not gonna like pressure him to tell me what his plans are. Like sometimes I'll help create the world. Like we've had a couple of things where like I come up with ideas of like how the world should work, and then I tell him that, and we build like a system off of that. But like if I'm playing a character, I try not to take advantage of what I do or do not know, because that just ruins the game.
Well, ruins is a strong word, but for what we do and for how we play, we really, really get in character. And if you know some knowledge, like Sally knows knowledge, but Sergei doesn't, and Sergei starts acting on that, it sort of breaks immersion. And I think that's one of the things that we're really good at, is just keeping in this sort of really immersive mind space where we are not for that time Casey and Sally, but Peck and Sergei. And we really try to inhabit those characters and just think exactly like... They tried to have me be a scout in their last episode, to tell them, like, sit there, watch the TV, and be like, oh, you've got a Wookiee coming up from behind. Peck wouldn't do that. Peck would get drunk and try to schmooze the...
And he didn't do it.
Yeah, I did not.
He did not do it.
That's right, you had Francisco do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we use new people for. But yeah, it's been a really great experience, and just actually even being able to talk to people about it who have listened and asking questions. I'm geeking out right now, and I'm so happy just to be in this room.
Well, thank you. Well, we're kind of rolling up on an hour. I guess you guys have any other questions you want to ask?
I think we're good. Well, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Oh, yeah, that would be brilliant.
No, don't do it. It's a trap.
You can't find us anywhere. It does not exist. This is actually a figment of their collective imagination, and these voices you've heard are actually figments of your imagination.
They hired us off
Run,
the
get out of
street.
here! Go out of this house!
Yes, we're very eloquent hobos.
That's the name of my next album. Eloquent Hobos.
Yeah, but you can find Dice Willing. Actually, we have it on iTunes and under Dice Willing. We have dicewilling.com. And we have it on Podcast Addict and most major podcatchers. And just, you can start anywhere, but episode 1 is recommended because it is a story that does grow as we go from episode to episode. And if you don't want to start in episode 1, I highly recommend starting on our bottle episode 3, where you get introduced to the gift shop and meds. And because it's still one of my just all-time favorite episodes because it adds so much to the characters in the world. But thank you for being interested.
Facebook too.
We do have a Facebook page. We are on Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit is a lot of time where we post our stuff just because, there's a community of 12,000 plus geeks at any moment, just roaming the internet, and might as well try to get a chunk of them.
Yeah.
And guess what? We'll have all these links in the show notes on our post on our page.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
When is this episode going to post?
That's a good question. Cherry City Comic Con really set me back a little bit, but after you guys leave, unless you guys want to be a part of it, it's up to you. But we usually record a news show after this, or before. I don't know if you've actually heard the news show at all.
Not yet.
But literally, we just pick a topic that's current in the world of geek, and banter about it. We each share one story, and then call that a news show, and just kind of updates people on what we've seen. Mike likes a lot of space stuff. Mason likes to get into either anthropology or a lot of tech stuff.
Girls' Generation.
Girls' Generation. Yeah, we haven't had a Girls' Generation update in a while. Mason just rolled his eyes at me.
Well, I do have one this week.
I kind of mishmash my stuff. I try to look for things a lot of based on media. Like mine's based around something that happened recently on social media with a certain convention that
Just blew up.
Yeah. But yeah, you're welcome to join and throw your feedback on it if you want, if you guys got time. If not, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd be willing to. All I got is work tomorrow morning, but I mean, yeah,
paycheck.
Well, and some editing. An hour plus of editing. That should be about 4 hours of work. Just because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to that episode, and
He's also a bit of a procrastinator.
very much a procrastinator.
I have yet to procrastinate because I'll get around to it tomorrow.
I'm a pro at procrastinating.
I should see you on the circuit then here sometime soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll meet on the starting line tomorrow.
Eventually, maybe.
Possibly. I don't know. Coffee sounds better.
Actually, they haven't set up the league yet, so I mean, it's still in the works.
Okay. I guess that's it. Well, thanks you guys for coming on the show, man. This is awesome. And thank Mike for bringing us up, for setting it all up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is for Mike.
Mike.
I'm a hero.
The linchpin of all of our success.
God damn it. Now I get blamed for everything.
God damn it. All right. Well, for the Nerd Effect Podcast, we have been
Mike Mogan.
Mason Ireland.
Casey Thompson.
Sally Matlock.
And for those about to nerd, we salute you.
Oh, the last dude talking? That was Dustin.
Oh.
I thought he was the omniscient narrator.
No.
Next time on the Nerd Effect Podcast. I'm like the
Will
fucking,
he say his name?
I'll be the Dragon Ball Z narrator. Which is
Next
actually
time
Kyle
on Nerd
Hebert.
Effect.
But yeah, the next time on Nerd Effect, we power up for 90 minutes.
And then you missed the one episode with any action.
Yep. God damn it, Toonami! Anyway, I've been Dustin Vancouver. Bye, guys!
Bye.